The goal is that if somebody were to go away for a little while and come back to town, that they wouldn't notice that anything changed other than, oh, well, maybe they painted the structure or something got freshened up. But you really wouldn't be able to see what's going on behind the scenes. And I think we succeeded at that. There's very few people that realize how big this facility is from the street.
I had previously read about oyster farming in Duxbury from a book, and I wound up being hired as a marine biologist in the hatchery here. I was excited to be part of this wonderful growing industry in Duxbury, so I moved up here, and little did I know that I would find the man of my life.
Once Anna and I met each other and started working together, we realized that it was something that we were really passionate about doing together on our own.
We have great water. It's nice and salty here, and we have incredible tide range. Our tide range is anywhere from 10 to 12 feet. And here in Duxbury Bay, on low tide, you can walk around the majority of the bay. Literally, the water is gone. And then within a few hours, it's well above your head. That really ensures that there's so much flushing of the water that with every tide cycle, you get fresh, often deeper water that comes in. It's chillier than a lot of other areas that help create that crisp, fresh taste that a lot of oyster lovers really enjoy.
On any given day, there are multiple things that are happening on the farm, from working in our nursery, or the baby oysters. At the same time, we'll have a crew that is harvesting adult oysters for market, sorting through those with our equipment. In the summer and fall, all of our work is done out on the water. We have a floating house on a dock. It's very close to our farm, so it's very efficient to get the product from the farm to the workspace. Wintertime, it's too cold for that to happen. The float is physically removed from the ocean, so everything happens right here on site in our building.
Mark and Anna came to me with a problem that I was here to help solve. They have an oyster farm, and they have a summer location, which is on a float out in Duxbury Bay, and that's where they sort their oysters. And in the winter, they had a barn here on this property initially that was their winter oyster sorting location, and they needed to expand.
Our must-haves were a big workshop, a large boat shop, large oyster processing facility with walk-in refrigeration, a big office and a big table for me. And we were also hoping to have some living space for friends and family to visit that we can't really accommodate in our very small antique house.
Due to the fact that Mark and Anna's house is next door to the project, and they live in an antique, what we wanted to do is make sure that this new structure would blend into the property nicely.
We felt very sensitive to wanting to build a building suiting our needs, but not to look like we have a huge boat shop and to have a huge building that would overshadow and very much dominate the beauty and simplicity of the old antique cape.
In order to keep within the historic context of the neighborhood, we used a cedar roof. We have a typical clapboard front. It's painted white. We have a barn door that is painted green, and it matches in scale and proportion. And that's really the most important thing about blending within the context of the neighborhood, is making sure that you are not overscaled, which was a trick for this project considering how large the actual footprint is and the spaces inside. But from the street side, we tried to really keep the scale and proportion matching the rest of the road. One of my main goals as an architect is to be focused on well-being. One of the most important things about focusing on well-being is being able to focus on nature. Natural light is extremely important as well as other things like air and the way that the layout works. But in order to make sure that I was really giving those that are working in their oyster shop the best space to be happy and comfortable and really focus on their well-being, I wanted to make sure that we maximized their amount of light and view that they had from that space.
We're farmers. We are used to working outdoors from sunrise to sunset. We like that natural light. So in the wintertime, to be in our oyster shop or working on boats in the boat shop, to have all that natural light coming into our workspace is really beautiful.
We chose Marvin Elevate windows for this project due to the features that they offered for this project and the price point. You can choose the interior finish, the exterior finish, all the hardware options, and you can tailor it towards a contemporary project, a modern project, or you can tailor it towards a historical project.
One of the things that I like most about working with Marvin is that Marvin also comes with wonderful resources, including Seven Tide, which was a great place for me to send Mark and Anna so that they could see the windows, understand the size that they were going to be, and really get a good understanding of what they were getting into.
So how I would describe Marvin at Seven Tide is a unique window and door experience. It's an opportunity for homeowners that are working on projects with their project partners to come in and explore the possibilities, to learn more about design details, all in a non-sales environment. Mark and Anna recently came in with their architect, Jessica. We went through the process of learning more about the windows, how they operate, but really for them and their project was the visualizer, the technology. So when I was able to build that window, so it was a 6-foot by 6-foot window, and this was the majority of what was going to make up their addition, they were able to then see it in person, stand up next to it. They could visualize at that point once the window was built for them in real time.
We had blueprints, we had the dimensions, didn't have a great idea of exactly how big these windows were going to be. When we got to Marvin Seven Tide, and we could stand next to the window and really get a feeling of what the windows were going to be like. That was very important to us.
What's really fun about architecture for me is when I do walk into a space that I've designed and it looks exactly like I expected it to look. I really did have that here, although it may have even been better than I expected. Knowing that I was attempting to hide the back area of this structure from the street and then having it work as well as it did, that was a really nice moment for me.
Every space really has been better than we expected. Certainly the boat shop has way more room than we could have imagined. The oyster processing room is working out flawlessly, and all the details that Tristan the builder has put into the living space upstairs is really beautiful.
It brings us so much joy. Every time we come into the spaces, we are like, we did it.